Anti-Afro Svengalis. I'm going to play a few clips for you. Now, the clips are coming from Remixes Live, and Photon did a live and played the live stream in part and inserted some of his comments. I'm going to let you know also, if you want to get the broader context, I'm going to put it at the back end of the video. But for now, stay tuned and I will return.
They did the same thing with anti-Afro Svengalis. All kind of people leaving comments and threatening me, talking about you better watch your back and you better anti-Afro did this and you in the same boat. Let's be honest. It was Carrie Ann that was spilling all the beans on the internet. So can you blame anti-Afro for Carrie Ann being fired and reprimanded when she said those derogatory things online for everybody to hear?
Dog, slow down, slow down. See, first of all, who said she got fired? You see how this telephone stuff works? It's like, who knows what's going to happen to her next week with these people's narratives. Leave that woman alone. She didn't get... How she get fired for this goofy shit? I'll wait. Where is this coming from? I didn't get the memo. I didn't get the memo that she's fired. She's good, people. Yeah, she's going through some trials and tribulations right now, as we all are. And if you're not, stay tuned. You're going to get into some trials and tribulations.
We know how people say things. CE is relaying information that he picked up, people have referenced or stated, and Photon, he's making a counter statement. So the question, well, I'm acknowledging CE is making a statement that he's heard repeated, but to you, Photon, how do you know that she wasn't fired? My question to you, which would be a lot more reasonable to pose to you, do you have written documentation that states that Carrie Ann has not been terminated? Or, more reasonable, do you have any documentation, written documentation, that you received from Carrie Ann that indicates her status? My very strong position on that, I venture to say you do not. I have 2 pieces of documentation sent straight from the district giving me an update as to the status of this investigation. I seriously doubt Carrie Ann would give you, number 1, the charges that she was presented with and her notice of suspension or her disposition regarding what's going on with the situation. So you can't say for sure either. You're only listening to what Carrie Ann, I guarantee you, she didn't give you any documents. As far as leave me alone, that's what you all should have been telling Carrie Ann almost 3 years ago when she was harassing everybody and engaging in all these protected group / status attacks. I have to say how much I appreciate Conscious Energy. One of the main reasons why I rock with Conscious Energy is because he is what I consider to be a glider. He moves from space to space, and since he came here to the in and around Umar Johnson's sector, he hasn't changed who he is. Now, if there's ever been a blow up, it's going to be because somebody is coming for him. He can come up and bring up an issue, but he moves in all spaces. Now, find it interesting, do you not? I don't consider there to be any female or women gliders. They're all men. And I'm not going to give you the names. I'm just focusing specifically on Conscious Energy. But I think it speaks volumes as to who causes the trouble around here. There are no female / women gliders. Conscious Energy is one of the relatively few gliders in and around the Umar Johnson sector. And I appreciate that. Thank you for your support, Conscious Energy. So what I want to say is whatever position anyone assumes about the situation with Carrie Ann and her being suspended, and I'll get into that in a second, your position is protected by the U.S. Constitution. You are free to express your view and opinion, provided that you don't violate the law. Got to be within the confines of the law, because free speech is never absolute, unconditional. Our documentation goes back nearly 3 years. There is nothing that anybody can do or say or influence within a context of us supposedly getting mad or me getting mad. That's ridiculous. We don't need you in any way, shape, or form. If you don't want to file a complaint or didn't file a complaint or don't plan to file a complaint or don't want Carrie Ann to lose her job or get in trouble, that's your right to feel that way. It's your right to express it. And it's our right to call foul on ridiculous accusations that have no basis in fact. So let me tell you this. The process for filing complaints for the DeKalb County School District. I'm going to give you basics. If a person is believed to have violated the regulations, whether it's the Georgia School Education Code, teacher ethics, school district policy, which flow with each other, the superintendent has the power and the authority to suspend that teacher. Now, when I say teacher, I actually mean anybody who is certificated or credentialed, including administrators. The superintendent would make that decision. That decision is not made by the principal. Typically, teachers might view the principal as a boss, but the principal does not have the power that people think. The principal can't even decide what students go to the school. The principal doesn't decide who gets terminated. Now, the principal may say, this person's behavior is so egregious, I think they should be fired. That's not up to the principal. It is up to the superintendent to issue a suspension. The suspension will be paid for a period of 10 working days. If after 10 working days the issue is not resolved, the person isn't reinstated, the person goes on unpaid leave. Now, the only way a teacher can be terminated is through the board. These people, these specifically are the individuals who are on the DeKalb County School Board. These are the people who decide Carrie Ann's fate. And they do that in concert with human resources, just like the superintendent. The superintendent wouldn't be able to suspend the contract unless he or she is square with human resources, because they look into the basic legalities. And if they feel they can be upheld in their decision, they're going to go ahead and suspend that teacher. That's how it works. In order for a person's contract to be terminated and they are a full-time teacher, that has to go through the school board. Now, here's something else you got to keep in mind. We do not know when Carrie Ann officially received notice of suspension. We don't know the date. I don't know the date. I didn't ask about the date. That brings me to another point. It was being floated around that I was calling Tucker High School every day. I never called Tucker High School a single time. I never called DeKalb County District a single time. My complaints, the initial complaint and the complaint for retaliation, was sent electronically, as were the responses that I received. I'm not going to call a principal about a complaint. What the heck is that? I'm not going to do that. That's a waste of time, people. So these are just rumors that people float around because I don't know why they do it. They do what they do. Does anybody really know why all the bizarre things go on in and around the Umar Johnson sector? Yes, I'm sure there are tons of reasons. But what I would encourage you to do is to click on the link below this title and check out the bios of these school board members. Very interesting. There's a family therapist on here. There's a person, family therapist slash an approved supervisor for people seeking licensure. There's people working for child welfare services as far as their history. Click on their bios. And the woman who circled in blue, that's the school board member who represents the district where Tucker High School is. This is District 4. It is a decision-making process by the school board. It is not arbitrary. Now, what you also have to keep in mind, you have collective bargaining, if that is a factor in this situation. So there could be other situations that could come about. If there's somebody negotiating on Carrie Ann's behalf, there could be some situation where she's allowed to use paid vacation. There may be a situation where she could get paid. I don't have that information. The laws that I cited are the standard laws in the statute, but there could be some other loopholes in collective bargaining. I haven't looked into it. So I'm giving you just the basics. I also wanted to make sure that you knew that Carrie Ann, when suspended, would have to receive a written document specifically citing the cause of action. And best believe the only issue on that document would not be race attacking. I myself submitted, I think it was 9 different areas. One of them was race. It was 8 or 9, I can't remember off the top of my head. Only one focused on race. So there's all those other issues. But here's the situation. What the school board or the superintendent will do is to look into whether or not the issues that were put forth are included in the personnel policies, the contract, the board regulations that have been ratified. And I can guarantee you every single one of them were, because I looked it up and I matched her conduct with what was specifically identified. I don't have Carrie Ann's specific contract, so I can't match it up with that. I haven't looked into it. I'm sure I could find one. I'm sure I can find a teacher in the Dekalb County District to give me a copy of their contract. I think I might just do that. They can take out their name, but I can assure you I can locate a specific contract that teachers sign. That's the situation. So what's considered to be one of the most troubling behaviors that Carrie Ann displays is her negligible insight, who really feels she has a right to say the things that she said. She's in total disregard of the contract she signed. I'll put money on it. She's in total disregard of the district policies as far as what the school board has ratified, inclusive of what human resources, personnel policies have in place. It's even more implausible that all this energy going into coming after people, lying on people, attacking people's children. They shouldn't be doing this to Carrie Ann. This is harassment. Where was all that energy when she was running her mouth? Think about it. All of that energy, I would call it wasted energy, that's going in, screaming and hollering about people defending themselves, whether it's regarding Carrie Ann or anyone else. If that energy is put into those who are conducting themselves in a manner that's placing them in potential legal peril, whether it's civil, whether it's criminal, whether it's going to impact your employment, it's incongruent. It bucks up against logic and reality. That energy should be going into someone that you claim you care about. None of these subjects care a damn about Carrie Ann. What they're trying to do is even a score. You're not punishing me by supporting Carrie Ann and endorsing her and telling her she did nothing wrong. You're not punishing any of us. You're not punishing us if we're filing complaints and you defend Carrie Ann. The energy should have gone in on the front end. But if Carrie Ann is too hard-headed, Carrie Ann's hard-headed. That is not a burden that I'm going to bear. And just so you know, me and breaking the culture of silence were just 2 of several people, many people who have filed complaints against Carrie Ann. Now, at one point, the district will let her know who they are. I don't give a damn. I put signed my name to that shit. Who is fearing Carrie Ann? Carrie Ann got up here and ran her mouth, would not shut up, and we were her first targets, right along with brothers. So it is our duty to make sure if a public servant is online eviscerating every protected group, that needs to be reported, that needs to be dealt with. And I told you my position. This is a person who shouldn't have a teaching credential. This is not a one-time comment. This is not a small block of time. We are talking almost 3 years. It doesn't matter what Carrie Ann says. Carrie Ann can't taunt me. She can't convince me, oh my God, I'm not in any trouble, because I only filed the complaint with the district. I haven't even talked to the state. And the district is required to file a complaint with the state when issues like this arise. Whether the district is required to continue to hold out the teacher pending that complaint with the state, that's information I don't have. I'm going to research that. I'm going to look into that and see what the regulations are. I'm going to obtain more specific information as an update, and I'm going to come back and deliver that information to you. But I'm going to go ahead and give you the link because I see the remixes video is still up. I'm going to give you the link with the timestamp where you can listen to the complete exchange that went down with Conscious Energy and some others regarding the situation about subjects just freaking out, trying to figure out some way to put blame on other people for their own actions. But rest assured, I'm going to come back with an update on this complaint situation process, and obviously we're going to get an outcome eventually, people. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.